Thomas, it's up for grabs now! Thomas!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
Good evening and welcome to a special edition of Real Talk and the Arsenal Lounge. We have got Eduardo on his way, not from Chile, obviously. He's just sorting out his connection, wonders of modern technology and all of that. But in the meantime, he'll be with us in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, you've got the usual suspects. You've got my co-host, Shaheen, aka Pablo Shamanzar, up there. How you doing, Shaheen?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, well, it's been a crazy 48 hours, and I'm kind of ready to unleash and get my feelings out. So, we're going to be doing that. And we've got Mr. Illuminous, the main man himself, the judge. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. Just before we come on air, Shaheen was talking in his foreign jargon, and it was very frightening. Very frightening. I was very intimidated by it.
Mate, that's for Al Jazeera. He as I said to you before, he does a sideline with Al Jazeera. So yeah, don't worry, you're all right. You got
Thank you, Lee. It's very kind of you.
Yeah, you've got your little and Lee. You got this channel coming out, obviously based around the old judges shenanigans. Jojo, he's on his way. Chill out, yeah. He's gonna be here. Show the rest of the guys what you've got for your little. Look at this. So that's what Lee's going to be using.
If anybody knows what it's called, put it in the description, because it's not a hammer. All right, okay. But I know you know, Liv, because you've always been hanging around courts.
Really? I'll tell you what it is, Lee, in your language. It's a hammer.
Hammer. So what actually is it? Because it's not called a hammer. Do you know what it's called, Shaheen? Don't say it if you know, but you know what it is.
Hammer.
It's a mallet. Harry's got it. I think Harry HC
has not got it. He's the mallet. It's not a mallet.
Timmy's mallet. Judge Hammer.
Just for everybody who's in the comments, Eduardo is just sorting out his connection, and he should be here any minute now. So just bear with us, and he's gonna come. He's just joined us from Chile, so it's a bit wobbly internet connection over there. So he should be here soon.
Shaker's got it. I think it's a gavel.
That's it. There's a few people who are very intelligent in the chat that have actually got it. Gavel.
Either that, or I spent too much time, as you suggested, in court. But anyway, we're going to push on with this, Lee, because I'm fuming. I'm sure quite a few of us are. But at the same time, I'm starting to see it as a bit of a blessing in disguise. So as we know, these last 48 hours have been crazy. There's been a consortium, a sort of a shadow committee, or whatever you want to call it, that have met. The Big Five and Spurs have all decided they're going to try and break away and join the new European Super League, which was headed up by Florentino Perez, the Real Madrid manager. So the Cronkies were at it, Abramovich, the Henrys, the Glazers, the Mansours, and Levy. And they've all decided they were going to leave. News broke out. Everyone was looking at each other thinking, what the hell is going on? And it's just got worse from there. But what I am proud of is the reaction and people power. So we were going to go to Eduardo with it first. So when he's here, we'll get his take on things. But Lee, I want to hear your thoughts on what's happened first, because this is unprecedented. Like this is bonkers, right?
Yeah, it's totally out of order, and shameful, if I'll be honest, that you've got 6 clubs wanting to just pocket all the money and guarantee it, and not really giving them monkeys about the other teams, and also not caring about football, just looking after themselves. And it's shameful, really. I will say this, because Arsenal, like one of the elite clubs, we've not been an elite club for a few years, I don't think could say no at the time. It was offered to us, like Spurs, really, you know what I mean? Like they're just thankful to be on the table, So from their point of view, that we couldn't say no. As disappointing as it was, I felt embarrassed, if I'll be honest, being an Arsenal fan. I felt a little bit embarrassed by it all. But ultimately, lads, football won at the end of the day. You know, it wasn't just the fans; it was everybody. Everybody come together from the footballing community, from journalists, players. Don't forget players that are playing now and ex-players. They were all fans once upon a time as well. So they all come together. Everybody's come together, and you know, it was an embarrassing thing. But I'll tell you what, the thing I don't think they realise is that the protest, yeah, it's all right, Leeds protesting, Everton, West Ham, those sort of teams, because they weren't in it. But what they had on yesterday was that Chelsea, who are in it, protesting. I think Spurs are protesting about it today. And, of course, Arsenal would have been come Friday if this was still going through. Now, of course, Arsenal fans have something else to protest about.
Absolutely. Now, as promised, everyone's been going bonkers in chats. Eduardo Han is in the house. How you doing, Eduardo? Good?
Doing great, people. Doing great. Thank you for having me. It's a true pleasure to be here with you. And
man, I've been watching I've been watching you for a while. I've been seeing how you've progressed from sort of just being a real fan like us, and it's really important. Since me and Shaheen have been doing this, we've realised just how passionate fans are, not just here, but globally about Arsenal. And you was really passionate. I've watched you develop over time. You're a real student of the game, and now you're a journalist in the making as well. I mean, so this is why we wanted you on. And just before we go on to hear your take on what's happened, we saw also a club legend has reacted. You said thank you to everyone who supported you, and Mr. Ian Wright himself has praised you for your incredible work. So, Eduardo, this is why you're here. People are stressing me out about, you know, we are here to see Eduardo. So I'd like to hear your take on what's actually happened with this European Super League, and you know, why did these guys decide to do it, and why did they not look at the fans and think about the after effects?
First of all, I think football is changing. There is some type of, I think there's a reason behind what they try to do, but I think it's not the right way to do it. I think we can still take a few things from the project that they provided. Of course, sporting merit is something you cannot take out of the project, which is something they failed at. Like, they had like 2 years, or some people are saying 20 years of having this in the process, and not adding that was a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. For me, I think UEFA and FIFA are just as hypocrites as these 12 clubs that were part of the process, because still they're saying, oh, the fans, but they don't care for the fans. Let's be honest. Sky Sports, I don't live in the UK personally, but I know they were charging £15 for a single game. Let's say a fan from Sheffield, a fan from West Bromwich Albion, they have to pay £15 to watch their team play. I think that's very crazy, unfair and hypocritical. For me, there has to be reforms to what we do, because for me, you see the format yesterday, not many people were talking about it, but in 2024, if Arsenal, per se, finish 7th and West Ham finish 5th, Arsenal would still go through to the Champions League because they're a bigger club. And how is that fair? You ask yourself that, and there's many things that have to change. And I think Seferin, Infantino wanted to create a Super League in Africa. What's the difference between Africa and Europe? The only reason is money. Yeah. And so African teams won't have any ambition to fight for anything, because the bigger African teams are going to be in this league by their own, just like what they were trying to propose yesterday.
No, that's well said. I mean, Shaheen, I want to bring you in on this as well. I think Eduardo's hit on a massive point here, and for me, what's happening is I've been doing quite a lot of reading on this particular subject over the last 24 hours, and it's brought home really just how little these new owners, these external owners in particular, care about us as fans. They look at us now as statistics, digits, numbers, and pound signs or dollar signs. That's all they see, and they're looking at the home supporters, the guys like me, you, whoever that help build that ground, help build the foundations of that club. They don't see us as relevant anymore. The average man that goes to the ground, pays for the ticket, buys the food, they don't care about us anymore. They're looking at the global brand, and they're looking at all the people that are untapped, and they want to focus on that. And this is where I think they've forgotten about the foundation. So Shaheen, so far with what you've seen and what you've heard, I mean, what's your take on it all?
Listen, there was a time when the average earning guy could have just gone and bought a very cheap ticket, gone to the stands, have a pie and a beer and watch a game of football. Those days is gone. It's finished. Football has changed. Football probably changed when the Premier League started, when Sky started broadcasting. Us fans are being exploited, whether it's by these clubs, whether it's by Sky, whether it's by FIFA, whether it was UEFA or Premier League. We're, as fans, we're the one who always have to pay. If you go to Arsenal, if you go to the club level bit, and I've bumped into Lee once in there as well. If you buy a Coke and beer and chips together, it's about 16 quid, right? So they don't care about people and making it affordable for people. It's just about a business, and a business needs to make a certain amount of money. And so and so. And Eduardo is right. He's very rich from Sky, and to turn around and now act as if they're supporting the fans and it's all about fans. It was just in the middle of a pandemic that they wanted to charge everybody 15 quid to watch the games. So that is a form of exploitation of the fans. With Arsenal, it's a little bit worse because we paid the most expensive tickets in Europe. And then the owner comes out of nowhere and he decides that this is what I want to do. Forget everybody, forget the players, managers, everyone. This is what I want to do. Again, who has to cough up? Fans. So we're again being exploited. So to be honest with you, it's just, as Eduardo said earlier, we're just being exploited by different people on a different level. If we're going to do this properly, if Sky is pretending that they're supporting the fans, they're supporting the average guy, then they need to reduce their subscription. BT Sports, tickets for the games. I saw somebody put something on Twitter that it's actually cheaper to fly on a day trip to Amsterdam, go watch Ajax play, and have a day out, than to go and watch Arsenal.
That's crazy. You know what, Shaheen, you raised a massive point with regards to Sky. Aren't they a little bit sort of? Well, they're complicit in all of this. They did this 30 years ago. They took our football from First Division. Right, they annexed it at the top. They took it and made it into the Premier League. Right, they pounded loads of money into it. Murdoch has done this with most media outlets as well. He owns most of that as well. And what they basically did is they rebranded it. They take everything that working class people love, they rebrand it and they sell it back to us. And we're kind of at fault as well as fans, because I think we were spoilt for a while. We were getting all this football on television, left, right, and centre. But really, what was going on was a lot more sinister. Because what's happening is there's a bigger divide between the fans and the boards are now being owned by people that don't have a clue about our history. So I'll put this to Lee. I mean, what do you make of Sky going on the way they're going on, considering they were the first to do this back in the 30 years back prior?
Listen, with Sky, let's get it right. It's the Premier League was completely different to what they're asking from here. Like what it's basically done was when they set up the Premier League, the big guns, the elite clubs, knew that virtually they were guaranteed of not being relegated, like Arsenal, Liverpool. They knew they was never going to be relegated, But over the last few years, 6 does not go into 4. So they can't guarantee Champions League football, where they could guarantee staying in the league. So things have got to change. And that is exactly what's happened. Now, Gary Neville has been given... And listen, it was fantastic what he was saying, and I'm not having a go at him for that. But Sky made sure they give him as much airtime as they possibly could because it benefited Sky. Sky know that if these guys would have left the Premier League, their product was dead. So they was quickly and happily enough to let him have all the airtime that he wanted. Now, Gary Neville has been very, very passionate about the fans and being the con of the fan, but. As Eduardo said, when will the £15 come up? Where was he then? Where was he then saying about the fans? Where was he coming out and being as passionate about that as he was this? Because, the fact is, this didn't affect his employer, which was Sky, And so, you listen, it doesn't matter whatever way you go about this, whether it be the Premier League, let's talk about the Champions League as well. It's all about money because that changed. It was like for Champions, knockout game. Now all of a sudden you've got leagues in it and there's 4 or 5 teams in it. So don't think that UEFA are cleaning this as well. They're getting a lot of money out of the Champions League as well. It's everything now is to make money, and I get that. That's the way football is. And When you've got that market and you've got that product and people are prepared to pay it, then fine. Listen, if you, and maybe not over the last couple of years, but before that, if you was at the Arsenal and you want to give away your ticket, you'd easily sell it without no problem, shape or form. Whether it was, you could even, if it was a 60 quid ticket, people were bumming on it to £80 and people were still paying it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, the product was there. I think over the last couple of years, maybe it's just slightly gone a little bit because, you know, the success at Arsenal is not there so much. But basically what you've got is owners of these clubs that are looking at it and they're not prepared, and I'm talking about our owner in there, not prepared to invest to make sure he gets the money, but was prepared to chuck us out of everything that we want to get the money. Now, when I look at it, you know, we've been chasing the European Cup since I was forever. He was prepared to never ever win that for the sake of money, you know what I mean? And that's where it's gone. Now for me, things have changed. Things have changed because what it's done is now Stan Kroenke has shown his hand. He's shown his cards. He's laid his cards on the table for exactly what he is. He does not care about Arsenal winning trophies, because if he cared about Arsenal winning a trophy, do you think he would come out with this a week before the Europa League? Basically, as a club, we could have been kicked out of the Europa League. They could have turned around and said, right, we're not having you in the Europa League for this, and kicked us out and ended up not having a trophy. It was more important for him to get that guaranteed windfall every year. And also, the biggest point of it all is, it didn't matter if he won or lost. For 22 years, he could have come bottom of that league. He was still going to cop his money. So when people say, oh, we would have been better off, he could have kept the same team as this now and gone into that next season and still earning a fortune. You know,
you've hit a massive point there, Lee, because the winner stood to get 400 million euros, right? But also on top of that, what makes you think, mate, how long has this been going on for? And is this the reason he's not been investing to get us to the next level? Because maybe he thought to himself, it's not really going to matter soon because we're shooting off to this new ESL league and it's not really going to, you know, not going to make a difference. It makes you think.
This wasn't concocted overnight, was it?
No.
This wasn't done over a weekend Zoom call this weekend. This has been in the pipeline for a while. You know what I mean? Like, and why bring it up now? I'll tell you why they bring it up now. Because us as fans, we've been starved of football, of going to games for over a year of not going to games. You know what I mean? So you're desperate to go back to a game. You know, like people like for the cup final have 2 tests before they go to Wembley on Sunday, and paying for it themselves because they're desperate to go to watch a game of football. Like, you know, all of a sudden they're taking it away from you. Like, oh, look, this is, you know, if you don't like it, you know, oh, but I'm desperate for a game. I've got to go and watch a game of football. They've known exactly. This has all been calculated to a certain way. Don't think that it's not. Yes. And, you know, again, the fans have been, you know, suffering. And also, just one more point.
Yeah, go on.
They're talking about deduction of points and whatever, like, you know what I mean, or kicking teams out. Is that fair on the fans? You know what I mean? I haven't done nothing.
The players, all the managers
wrong. Why should I get paid? Why should I have points deducted? Why should I be knocked out?
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Ain't, but like, you know, that's what they're going to say. You know, other clubs are saying, "I'll dock them 20 points or whatever." Like, well, dock us 20 points. Is that fair for the fan? You know, no, it ain't. We haven't done nothing wrong. And I'll tell you what, we've backed. You know, as soon as this happened, one of the greatest thing about this is that the fans protesting and are not the West Hams, it is the Arsenals, Chelsea's, Tottenham's. The teams that are in it are still not happy about it, you know, and that's us. We wasn't happy with the situation. I don't think we should be punished.
100%. Eduardo, or can I call you Edu? Because everyone in the chat seems to be calling you Edu. So I'd like to hear a bit more, because you seem to know a lot more about this than I did. I've only just tried to catch up with it these last 48 hours. But where did this all come from? Why did they not think about approaching the fans about it? Is it because they thought that it wasn't going to get past the fans? And, you know, how long has this been going on for? It's crazy.
Look, there are leaks from a site called Football Leaks that in 2018, Ivan Gazidis, our previous CEO, was planning this all along. We were already part of this project from then. And he said, we are going to get what we want one way or the other. And look, in one day, they got UEFA to change their whole format. And out of nowhere, UEFA were able to get 4 billion more for the competition. Once they were crying the whole time, oh no, we don't have money, I'm sorry, the pandemic. And I find it very hypocritical as well from the owners that they did this right when the fans can't go to the stadium. There couldn't be an outrage, but there was. The fans stood up, and I'm very proud of everyone involved. And this is for me, it's the battle of the hypocrites. Boris Johnson, by the way, he spoke to the Saudis for them to take over Newcastle, which will only benefit the Premier League. But he's totally against other teams getting better. So how do you have to make a difference, right? You can't be a hypocrite in one way and not in the other. For me, it's a very, very, it's a complex thing because I've read a lot about it. I've reported tons and tons of information, and I saw a report from Mundo Deportivo saying that UEFA have paid a massive amount of money to the top 6 clubs for getting out of the Super League and coming back to UEFA. So
they've been rewarded for trying to break away.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea how much that is?
At the moment, no. But I'm pretty sure we'll know soon enough. Football Leaks is a great site, and they will show everything to light. It's disgraceful.
Wow. I mean, look, things I was reading, for example, was Jesper Moyer from UEFA had said initially he expected City, United, Chelsea and Madrid to be kicked out of the Champions League, like Lee was saying earlier. Suddenly the brakes were put on. But it sounds like on one hand, they're telling us that they're going to punish them. But in the other, they're saying, hey, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll give you something a bit better than that. And this is what's the problem with our game. I mean, UEFA and FIFA are corrupt themselves. How the hell did Qatar end up getting the World Cup in the desert when we know the football's played in the summer? They're looking to move that to the winter. Where does it stop? I think you hit the nail on the head. They're all a bunch of hypocrites. Go on, please. That's what
By the way, FIFA, Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, the other day said, Qatar, it's having the best treatment of human rights possible. This next World Cup will be the best in history. And then you see a report from the Guardian saying that over 6,500 people have died in the construction of these stadiums. So you see, and in the other terms of other hypocrites, in my opinion, the owners as well, man, it's disgusting, man. Arsenal I'm pretty sure the most expensive season ticket in the whole of Europe. When they never spend, it's like, what? We're a self-sustainable team, but I'm pretty sure by the fans they make billions of dollars and they don't do anything about it. They don't spend from their pocket. They've never done. No. And who guarantees you that they will spend money on good players if we were to be in the Super League? No one.
Well, you just don't know. I mean, they'll probably be pocketing that money that they're getting. I think they were all promised. Do you know the figure that these guys were promised to jump on board? I've heard a few different things. I've heard 350. I've heard more. What was they promised?
It was 350 million euros to participate, and it was 233 million for renovations and reforms.
What renovations and reforms?
Where does that money go? That's the question. Nobody's going to be able
to know. You know what? When I saw all of these things for the first day when it was unfolding, you know what came to my mind and I was thinking about? And I was thinking, if there was a situation that arise and Stan Kroenke was proposed to pull a move, just like what he did to the Rams, to move Arsenal from London to somewhere else because he makes more money over there and he would do it, no problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He would move Arsenal from where it is. He would probably sell the stadium to some developers, go build some, just like he did to LA Rams. Also, if this league went ahead, I can guarantee you there will be at least a dozen of games every season that we played in Middle East, America, and Far East, because this is all about money. This is all about generating, awareness. People over there pay more. People over there pay more. And then what? It's not a football anymore. It's circus. It's a show. So you guys go wrong.
Also, there's nothing to stop Kroenke, and this is a big thing, moving Arsenal to America. What there's nothing you can do.
I just said that, Lee.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you know what? If the guy,
what I'm saying is, don't think that it couldn't happen. When you have a look at near at home, MK Dons.
If the guy is capable, if the guy is capable of making a decision in this magnitude, leaving Premier League, this, that, the other, he's more than capable of thinking.
Exactly.
I'm going to make more money in America. I'm going to move everything there.
Don't think that he couldn't do that, because he could, and that is the reality of it. Like, of course. In America, in American football, the LA Rams has been Oakland Ray or Oakland Ray. I don't know, is it Oakland Raiders or LA Raiders or whatever? Like, I don't know what they're called now, like, but they've moved a few times. Now, if you think you can do that in America to a big city, like, and I remember seeing something about Oakland and all that, like, and it nearly ruined the city. So if they can do that, they can certainly do it to this football club, like,
He's done it to St. Louis. He's done it to St. Louis Rams as well. He
would have no problem. He would have no problem to move Arsenal from where we are to somewhere else, because he stands to gain more money. Also, we ran a bit of a poll today on Twitter and YouTube, and the question was: would Vinay, KSA, and Arsenal board, would they be able to come back from this? There was 3 answers: yes, no, and they can all fuck off. So basically, 72% of the fans said they can all fuck off. So it shows that let's just be honest, there was never ever a relationship between fan base and the Kroenkes or the boards. There was never any feelings, as such. Look, there is a relationship between Roman and Chelsea fans. Between us and Kroenkes, there's never been any relationship at all. So
nor Man United, Shanine. Man United, the biggest club in this country. The fans have been trying to get them out, for 20 years now, or wherever long it's been. I remember, like, the green and yellow shirts and everything. Like, they actually, Man United formed their own club, and the Glazers are still there. So don't think this is going to be an easy thing. It's not Friday, and they're going to get rid of this bloke.
No, of course. But the point that I was making is that because of what just happened, right? And me and you had a brief conversation last night together, Lee, and you said Kroenke has showed his hand now. So because of what has happened, and now him showing his hand, I genuinely think there's nothing. He hasn't got any credit in the bank to come back to. It's done. He was done already. He was just hanging by a thread. He was hanging by one bad transfer window that he doesn't spend.
Yeah, but hold on. Isn't this our fault? Isn't this our fault, right? Our board have allowed somebody to come in and buy. I'll put this to Eduardo. What is going on? How are we allowing these big guys like Abramovich first came in, right? We were looking at a self-sustainable model. If you look at Germany, and my son, he's 16 years of age. He came to me and he said to me the other day, Dad, the reason the Germany don't want to do this is apparently they've got a model where all clubs have to be owned. 51% has to be owned by fans. So the final say always is with the fans, right? How have we allowed external influences like your Kroenkes, your Abramoviches, your Glazers to come in who have no idea of our football, the history behind it, and the passion behind it? How have we allowed this to happen? We're at fault as well, aren't we, Eduardo?
We are at fault. The UK government is at fault as well, because they brought all these people here. And look, our clubs, for me, I've never been to the Emirates, but I love Arsenal. I love its culture. I love everything about it. I love the Arsenal family. And for me, yesterday, I felt very, very embarrassed. I think Kroenke tarnished the history of the club, and that can't be allowed anymore. For me, he has to go tomorrow. Of course, it's going to be a very, very hard thing to do because he's the owner of 96% of the club. But we have to do something about it, because we can't allow this people, because first it was Abramovich, then it was Sheikh Mansour to take over City. Then first it was the Glazers, then it was Kroenke, and now it's going to be the Saudis. And then what are we going to make the Premier League? A super league. Nobody's going to be able to go down if they're owned by a sugar daddy, if you could say it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. What are they doing? Laundering their money through our clubs? I mean, what are they doing?
Yeah, but look, yesterday I talked about a point, which is the Super League was never going to allow sporting merit, right? But does the Premier League give some type of chance to a team like Sheffield, to a team like West Brom to win the Premier League, with teams that are able to spend 200 million quid on fullbacks, teams that are able to spend Chelsea and the pandemic spent 250 million. How is this possible? And then you have teams that can't sign anybody. And look, Norwich from going down and going back up win twice as much as Bayern Munich for winning the German league and the Champions League.
I mean, the French and the Germans don't know.
Has said the right thing there. It is a massive point. The Premier League was set up by the big boys and they're guaranteed it. Like, you know, listen, it's no coincidence. Manchester City now. Let's just take Manchester City for instance. Right, you know, in my lifetime, got to one cup final in 1981. Right, nothing ever. Now, as soon as they've got the influx of money, they've won title after title, trophy after trophy. Chelsea have won more trophies than anybody else since Abramovich took over. Like, you know, so this is the thing. Now, the Premier League, when it first was integrated, wasn't for Chelsea and it wasn't for Manchester City. It was for the Arsenals, Manchester United's, the big guns to right, this is our thing. But what happened was it got so bloody big and global that these powerhouses have come in and realistically Abramovich and has changed it all over. Now, when you go on to this Elite Six and all that, let's just be honest about
it. Five and Tottenham. Elite 5 and Tottenham.
Right, Tottenham, you know what I mean? Like, you can go back Tottenham, like, but I'll bring them in because it is the 6, right?
Yeah.
4 of them, realistically, 3 of them have got no right to be in it, like, you know what I mean? Because I can tell you that. Let's take away Abramovich's money. Chelsea would never, ever be invited to this table. Never, ever.
They almost went bankrupt, didn't they?
Well, exactly, you know what I mean? But they've not got the big affair. You're talking Everton, you're talking Aston Villa, you're talking Newcastle. You know what I mean? These 2 clubs, and initially they took the moral ground. Oh, well, we really want to go out. They're the first ones to go out. They're the first ones to go out because basically they're guaranteed every season to be in the Champions League because they've picked up £200 million Chelsea spent when no one else is spending money. Manchester City can afford to let someone like Aguero go for nothing. Right, when we, as a football club, have had to pay absolute astronomical money to keep aubameyang because we couldn't afford to lose him for nothing. Manchester City don't matter, don't matter. You know what I mean? So they're playing on a different playing field to us, and that's a fact. Now, when you go into this new league and all that, they'd still be playing on a different playing field. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think Arsenal would be able to compete with Manchester City just because they're going into the Super League. They're never, ever going to, whether you're playing in the Premier League, the Super League, or the Super League, you're never, ever going to compete with Manchester City and Chelsea. We never are because of what they're doing, unless we get an owner ourselves that's prepared to do that. Now, also, don't forget, which would have worried these big 4, or sorry, the big 6 was if Newcastle's funded, like, new owner would have come in, that would have took them over Arsenal, over Spurs, and over Liverpool as well. So, you know, you'd have had a 7. So you've got to be, so these clubs are looking at it now, Arsenal in particular, and Spurs, for instance. They're thinking, well, if we don't, we've got to protect ourselves here because it only can take somebody else coming through. Blackburn, look at them. Going back years and years ago, like, where are they now? Why are they not winning titles no more? Because they're not back no more. You know what I mean? And it didn't matter about a big stadium and everything, because if you've ever been to Blackburn, like, you know what I mean, it's small ground, small, you know, town.
Well, back in the day, it came down to revenue on the day from football, right? It's not about that anymore. It's not about that anymore. It's just who's got the richest owner. And
it's always been about money. It's always been. It's always
business. Always is.
Manchester United were always the biggest club, always the biggest earners, and everything like that. But in saying that, they never won. It didn't necessarily mean you was going to win it. Notts Forest went on to win the league and Europe. Look, but they spent money. Don't. You know what I mean? When people go, oh, Notts Forest is a small club, first team to spend £1 million. They spent money, £800,000 on Stan Bowles, £1 million on Trevor Francis.
Yeah,
Trevor Francis. You know what I mean? Like, so they done that. people go, oh, they're a small club. You know, if you've been to Forest, it ain't a massive ground, but they was the money was invested in them. Always money will talk, but there's always you have to say there's always the chance. Look at Arsenal. Let's just take our club. You know what I mean? Like from it all, like Manchester United can go and spend 30 million on Rio Ferdinand. Yeah, we couldn't do that. We had to go and buy people like
Stepanov.
And players that were unknown, Vieira,
Scalacci.
Well, no, but let's be serious. I'm talking about the proper players now, like Vieira. Who had heard of Vieira when he come there? Like Anelka, players like that. Thierry Henry wasn't great money, you know what I mean? But Perez, we done it a different way and got success for it. So you have to say credit where credit's due. But ultimately, Manchester United were the powerhouse, and that's why Ferguson hated Wenger, because he was having it all his own way.
But then came Abramovich, and he was offering these guys that we were scouting double the money to come across, right?
Well, listen, ain't rocket science. You know, Hazard was going to Spurs, wasn't he? Like, you know what I mean? Like it was a deal done and dusted.
Was that Hazard or Willian?
And then Willian as well, and they just said, "Oh, we'll treble your money." Not only that, you know, look at Walker at Tottenham, just for instance. You know, as Eduardo said, 50 million to sign him, like, you know what I mean? But also, why do you want to leave Spurs? Well, I'll tell you why I'm going to leave Spurs, because they're going to treble my money, right? Yeah. And I'm also guaranteed of winning trophies. It's a non-brainer, isn't it? As a player, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm not only getting the money, I'm going to earn millions of pounds, but I'm also going to win trophies and guaranteed being in the Champions League every year. Yeah. You know?
Lev, can I just say a couple of super chats? Before we go, we've got one from Rohan. It says some fans handed out Osmanov for Kroenke. Well, there's an argument, say who's to say Osmanov would be any different, but
I think he would have been egotistical in the sense he would have wanted to win. There's a difference.
Yeah, there's another one from Aaron Benjamin. This is an amazing podcast, great channel, fantastic. Yes, well done, Lev and Shaheen, and much love to Lee Judges. Well done, Edu, for all the hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you guys for your support. And please, if you're new here, subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button, comment on the video. It helps us. Another thing I was going to say, Lee, you know what? Forget everything. Put all of that we just discussed on the side. Imagine, we went to that league. I mean, surely this has to play in the guy's mind if he has anything about him. We struggled to get through against Slavia Prague. And you want to go compete with these big boys week in, week out, with the team we've got. We would just be embarrassed every week, man.
We was getting embarrassed in the Premier League for 5 years.
And then the guy who wants us to go to that league is.
Let me ask a question. I'll throw this at Eduardo, right? How now that these six, the big five and Spurs, I'm going to keep saying that, I don't care. How are they now, when obviously we know that meetings happen within the Premier League between all the bosses and all the chairmen and all of that. How are they now? How is this going to affect the league as well? In the sense of, how do they go and sit with the 14 other chairmen, sit down with them, knowing that they've lost all the trust, from the so-called big guys that they would have been looking up to and respected, knowing that these guys were willing to turn their backs on them and walk away. How's that going to affect everything?
I mean, it probably will. And the thing is that I saw a report today saying that the 14 clubs that were not invited and are part of the Premier League are not mad at the clubs, at the players, or at the managers. They're mad at the owners. Yeah, they're mad at the owners. And they knew how to separate what was going on, because look, Arteta, the players, they had no idea about this. Let's be honest.
I don't think any of the managers or players did in any club, did they?
Nobody did.
Crazy.
So it's a thing that these clubs are going to have to forgive the fans, forgive the clubs, and don't let this tarnish our culture because of greedy owners that wanted to do it.
Well, this is it's starting to get legal now, because apparently there's something in the binding contract for all in the Premier League. I think it's called Rule L.9 that stipulates that clubs should not enter or play in any competitions without written approval or consent by the Premier League board. So from a legal perspective now, how is this going to affect everything? That's another question.
We will have to see what happens, but at the moment, nothing has happened. The Ceferin welcomed everyone back to the Champions League, so At least we have a trophy to fight for. I tweeted that this morning. So we have to stay behind the players, behind the manager. Of course, send Kroenke out, do protest, everything. But we have to know how to separate things as well. And
sorry, I've got to say, this is a great point. This is a great point because the Premier League, right, are in a bit of a precarious position here because if they say, right, we're now going to punish these 6 teams, right, the 6 teams then say, like, for instance, say, like, they'd say, right, we're docking you 20 points each, like, these clubs then are going to come back and say, well, all right, now we've been docked 20 points. We can't do this. We can't do that. Right, we are going to break off to this other league now. And they will then get the backing of the fans because as a fan, you're going to say, hold on a minute, we're out. That ain't fair. You know what I mean? So the Premier League now got to be very, very careful how they do it because what's happened is the 6 have shown their power, and it's been demeaned a little bit. But hold on, if you go too far, these guys can come back with this power and go, right, hold on a minute. You know what I mean? Same for the teams in Spain. If they say to Atletico Madrid, right, we're docking you 20 points now. You're not in the Champions League next year. All of a sudden, they're going to go, right, I'm not in the Champions League next year. Right, I am going over to that Super League. And the fans will back it then. So you've got to be very, very careful.
So what are we going to do about it? Sorry, Eduardo. Carry on. No, you carry on, mate.
Thank you. Another point that I think it's critical. These leagues depend like 90% on these clubs. So imagine they deduct 20 points from everyone. What will happen to Arsenal? We will be in a relegation battle. Spurs will be in a relegation battle. And then imagine we go down. What happens to the Premier League? All the revenue, they affect themselves. They affect themselves.
Yeah. I think they know this, though. They know they have this power, right? Because if those, like you rightly said, it affects the rest of them. And they didn't, what bugs me and hurts me the most is they didn't even care about the other 14 when they were making this decision. They were going, it was like they were trading. It's like a guy when he's been with a wife for 40 years and decides to trade her in for a newer, younger model. That's exactly what it was. But I want to know then, I'll chuck it out to you guys. What are the clubs going to do about this now, right? In regards to the real poor judgment at the very, very top. Because what I'm worried about is scapegoats. For example, it's the Glazers that were doing this for United, right? Who have they sacked? Edward Woodward.
No. Ed Woodward had a lot to do with this. He used to work for JP Morgan.
Okay, fair enough. But it's not the Glazers, is it? It was under their stewardship, right?
Yeah, he was going anyway, Liv. Come on. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe so. Listen, I don't want scapegoats. What they're going to do? Sack Vinay? Or what they're going to,
Vinay, listen, Vinay, he just got a job in the ECB as well, and he resigned after 1 month. You need to have something about yourself as well. If somebody is telling you put your hand in the fire, it's going to be all right. You have to think a little bit yourself. I know this is your employer. I know the guy is telling you to do something. If you like them, then you say, yeah, come, let's do it. And you go to meetings and you carry out what they want to do. They could have said to these guys, listen, man, I think this is going to backfire. I don't think we should do this. I don't think we should go on about it this way. I think we should consult this fan or that fan or this group or that group. In terms of what you said, what the other club's going to do, nothing. There's not a lot they can do because Premier League depends on these big clubs because of their TV money and so on and so on. And the more revenue Premier League has, these are smaller clubs, the more money they get at the end of the season. Yeah. So they're not going to come in now out of a sudden, we're going to do. I don't think anything will happen. They'll just say, all right, guys, you made a mistake.
I think there's going to be some sackings. I do think there's going to be some
sackings. There's already been. Well, who are they going to sack? Who can they? Because nobody has been involved in the clubs except the owner and the chief executives. So it's one of these two. I've heard that one of these clubs, and I'm hoping it is us, right? They said that it's such a mess after all of these things that the owner is going to put the club up for sale. And I think it could be
everything we stand for has been destroyed. Tradition.
Well, no. Well, look, you know why I think it could be us? Because Kroenke's came in for a project like this. Kroenke's came in to make money and this, and now they're saying, hold on, we can't go to this league anymore. And if we stick around this summer, we've got to pump in a lot of money into this club because now we're fucked with the fans. We don't have any relationship. We've got nothing. So let's just sell it.
Well, this is something that we've meant to be in as a club all this time as classier and you know, with tradition more than anybody else. Remember who you are, what you are, and who you represent. This is something that Vic Akers was even telling the women's team. So Eduardo, I mean, I like to throw this at you, bro, because like this is not making sense to me. The damage that they've caused with regards to us and our reputation. Surely something has to be seen to be done. Now, have you heard anything with regards to who this apparent team might be that might be looking to sell?
At the moment, I am not sure, but you can already wrote Manchester United because the Glazers said that we're going to continue working for you, and and you know that's basically we're not gonna leave. So we will see. It was a tweet by Stan Collymore, if I'm not mistaken. So
yep, you're right. You're correct.
So we will see. We will see. Hopefully he decides to sell, but it's gonna be very hard, in my opinion. Arsenal, for me, it's his biggest asset. The Nuggets don't have any relevance worldwide like we do. We are definitely a top 10 club in the world in terms of viewership and brand and deals. So it's gonna be very hard for a entrepreneur to sell his biggest prize, his biggest reward. So I think we as fans have to do whatever it takes to let our voice known. And they know they can't do anything too out of the situation because we're all going to be in it. We're going to hound them out if they do something. For example, if they sack Vinay, I mean, I don't know how much relevance Vinay had on all this because he has to do with what is like the relationships with other clubs, and this type of deal will have to go through him, in my opinion. But like the likes of Arteta, Edu, all of them don't have anything to do with this. So we will see what happens, but the fans must keep an eye on them because they're in the looking glass right now.
Oh man, we're all praying that it's gonna be Stan Kroenke that sells, but then I'm torn, and this is why I'm torn. We're stuck in this catch-22 situation where we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't, because now we've created a situation where we tried the self-sustaining model, right? And I think Wenger had the right idea, and maybe moving forward, that's something we should be looking at. Maybe spending caps, try to level up the playing field a little bit. But the problem we have is, okay, so then we're going to have to accept that if these other teams are allowed to go and get anyone externally, an oligarch like Abramovich or somebody else, do we then say to ourselves, well, we're going to have to be owned, so I'd rather be owned by someone like an Abramovich who's ruthless and wants to win? But this still goes against what our traditions are and what we want as fans. I find it very difficult. I mean, Shaheen, what do you think?
Look, I agree with you, but just before I go into this, can I just say something? Because I saw something in here that me and you had a discussion about.
Go on.
Last week, we put a challenge to everybody that if you get the team selection right, you win yourself an Arsenal shirt. And we do have a winner.
What? Someone got that right?
Yes, I couldn't believe it. I had to check that Lee didn't do it after the game. Yes,
I am shocked.
I know.
Yeah, he got it right. So Lee, if you get in touch with us on Twitter, we'll sort that out for you, and we'll send that on your way.
Yeah, Lee,
congratulations,
by the way. That was brilliant, by the way, because who would have thought both Chambers and Xhaka? And then, it was crazy. But yeah, he done well. So Lee, well done. But going back to what we were discussing here, what can we do about what's going on? I mean, some of these apologies.
Well, look, we're having a protest on Friday.
Yeah.
So Friday, 6 o'clock. If you guys don't know, if you live in London, if you can make it, come to the Emirates.
Eduardo's coming by plane from Chile, by the way.
Yeah, let's give him. Let's make sure. I think the Kroenkes, they know we don't like them. They know they're hated. They know they're not popular. But just let's go out there and let's give him hopefully that one final push. If we can, the Spurs, they done a protest today. I think about 15 people turned up. Let's go out there on Friday and really, really go in hard on them. Make sure they understand that, listen, you're not wanted here. You're done out here. You've taken a piss long enough. You need to leave now. Because there is not... Listen, Kroenkes, they can come back from this, but it's a lot harder to come back from this than sell the club. It's easier for them to just sell and move on. If they want to come back from this, they have to spend a lot of money this summer. and do a lot of things that fans have been asking for years and they haven't done it. So I think we just need to go out there, voice our concerns, make sure they get the message, and hopefully that will be the last push that they want, and they can jog on.
Well, I'll be there. We'll be there.
Yeah.
The Arsenal lads will be there. Lee will be there. Eduardo will be there in spirit, man. And what Eduardo's doing, and big up to you, Eduardo, right? You're on the other side of the globe, and you were pushing this as hard. You weren't letting it go. And, you know, for us as fans here, we look at that and we say, he's one of us. And that's why you're here, brother. Yeah? Is there anything you'd like to add that we might have missed out with regards to this Super League scenario? Because I know you know so much more than we do on this matter. But, you know, for example, what about the other teams in Europe that didn't get invited? What about the relationships there that they looked and they thought to themselves, oh, right, we're okay to be in the Champions Leagues when you want us, like Turkey. I'm a Cypriot from Turkish side. You know, Beşiktaş, Fenerbahçe, Galatasaray, they would have been looking at that. Okay, they're not globally as big as the others, but they would have been looking at that and go, oh, okay, so you've got a European Super League. We've got no one representing our country. There's a whole host of different things that we could touch on. But is there anything else you'd want to add to what we've been discussing at all?
Well, I'm pretty sure in Turkey, Galatasaray and Fenerbahçe are probably as big in fan base as many of the clubs that were part of the Super League. So it's a very, very hard topic to discuss because it's very complex. It adds so many things. But going back to your point when you said that we should add salary caps now, for me, the game is already tarnished. It's already. Look, even if we add a salary cap right now, Manchester City are still going to have Bernardo Silva, Joe Cancelo, and all of them in the bench. Well, we have the likes of Elneny and these people, and they're not gonna force them to sell anyone. So they already have their whole squad made, and what's going to change? We're going to have to wait 10 years for that to happen. And who guarantees football's going to be the same by then?
Crazy. We got a question here, guys. Maybe we can answer from Made in Brooklyn, 1975. $10. Thank you for your support, Made in Brooklyn, 1975. Why do we think the Cronkies can't come back from this? They literally don't care if they are liked. They only care about profits, and the brand new Champions League format will increase their profits. Well, guys, I'll let you guys answer this. Who wants to jump in first?
I'll go along with that.
Go on,
yeah, exactly right. You know, I don't think they will be that bothered. But what will bother them a little bit, like, you know what I mean, is if they on Friday to see what sort of reaction it is. If there's 50 fans turn up, they're not going to be bothered. But if there is 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 fans here, that will make them take note. Whether it will be enough, I'm not so sure. I think it's a good point what he's making there.
I think a big difference is, in compared to American football, is we're just absolutely crazy about the history of our clubs as well. I think that's what it is. Shaheen, what do you think of what Made in Brooklyn 1975 has had to say?
He does have a point. But what they don't know is that in England, fans they're really powerful. We've got big voiced fans, as you've seen. Look, us collectively, as football fans, I'm talking about all clubs, yeah? We're more powerful than Real Madrid, Barcelona, Arsenal, Man United, Man City put together. So Cronkies can't last long, you know. I don't really see how they're going to come back, man. It's going to be hard. Once the stadium opens, it's going to be even worse. There's going to be banners in the stadium. There's going to be protests. People may
Shaheen's
not
going to get another plane. Shaheen will get another plane. He don't care. Shaheen just
might get another plane. Yeah, listen, just a couple of things. We've got about 317 people watching, only 80 likes. Guys, it doesn't cost anything, man. Just hit the like button for us, subscribe. And also, Lee, the person who... Here we go. If you don't do Twitter, if you can find Lev on Instagram. Lev, I don't know what's your Instagram handle. Can you tell him so he can get it?
It will be at Levanja. It will just be Levanja. This is Levanja. Just like mine. You know, find me on there. We'll give you an email address or something. And I know you want an away top as well because you've already got a home one. Anything else you want, Lee?
Oh, look, right, we've got a couple of more. Yeah, we've got a couple of more super chat. If we lose on Friday, and this will make it messy, if we lose on Friday, and this will make it messy. Also, I think if a major sponsor Emirates leaves, which is unlikely, then surely he will crumble. Yeah, that's
that's another massive point. Everything about us is up for sale now. Our stadium names, the rights, everything, the sponsorship deals on our shirts. That's why they don't care about us anymore, because
another
they're
one
getting money from elsewhere.
Yeah, another one from Made in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Man United have hated the Glazers really 20 years. Glazers are still they're collecting their profit. Just saying. Yeah,
Exactly.
that is correct as well.
Can I say something?
Eduardo wants to say something.
Just one thing, Eduardo, before you go.
Go ahead.
Before you say sorry. The difference here would be that every now and then Glazers, they've dropped in the money. They've spent. And, you know, so they've kind of, you know, stroke fans a little bit. Kroenke has done fuck all for Arsenal. If anything, he's taken money out. So, yeah, I just want to say, go on, Eduardo.
If I can put it in a simple way, I think I am not sure if Kroenke is going to sell, but I'm convinced this is the best time to try to force him out. There's not a better time, and there won't be a better time.
Bang on.
There you go, guys. That is a massive point, Eduardo. If we're going to get him out, it's going to be now.
It's got to be now. Exactly right. It's the right time.
Get the gavel out, Lee. It's got to be now.
It is the right time now. Bang.
It is the right time. The judges is not messing around. Guys, we need to start waking up to the fact that we as people have the power, not just with the football. I mean, I'm so proud of the way we reacted, but with racism. I mean, I'm fed up with this virtual signaling where they're telling people to kneel on their, you know, before a game. But what do they actually do when it really matters? If you're a fan and you're racist in the grounds, you get banned for life, right? But if you're a player, you get 10 matches. I mean, we need to speak up, not just with football, but racism, politics, anything you see an injustice on. We need to wake up now and realize that we do have the power. So, you know, speak up. Let's all be unified. And this is for the first time our fan base seems unified. You know, it's taken this to create this. It's crazy, but you know, I'm looking forward to it tomorrow, Friday, should I say? We'll be there. We'll take as much footage as possible. Shaheen, is there anything else you want to add? Because I know Lee's looking at time.
Thank you. Yeah. Just, you know what, Eduardo, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate your time. Lee Judges, as always.
We'd love to have Eduardo back on anytime, Eduardo.
Thank you, Eduardo. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you, Lee.
Yeah, he's on fire. Gasoline.
When I was 15, I was Lee's biggest fan. I used to watch ARSEVE.
There you go.
Oh my God,
Eduardo!
I'm never going to hear the end of this.
I'll tell you one thing. There's this saying, yeah, never meet your idols.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean? Yeah. You
know what?
And Lee's all right. I can vouch for him.
Me and Eduardo now friends forever. Friends forever.
God, nice one, Eduardo. You've really blown some smoke up his eye. Do you know what? Very quickly before you go, then on that point, I've been holding this story for weeks because it hurt me that badly. Lee, Shaheen said, "Never meet your idols." Very, very true. And I'll tell you this story. I was walking down the street a few weeks ago. Lee, I'll tell you this in particular. Walking down the street, I was feeling a bit shit. I was feeling a bit down. You know, walking down the street, look up. Who do I see? One of the Invincibles, Sol Campbell. Right? I'm like, oh my God, it's Sol Campbell. Like, you know, it perked me up a little bit. So as I was walking with my dog, I went, "You're right, Sol. I'm a massive fan." Do you know what he did? He just looked me up and down and just went, "All right, mate." I just didn't even care. Didn't even say hello. Didn't say anything.
Apparently he's a bit obnoxious.
Oh, mate, you know what? I was a massive fan of his. And you know what I'll say to anyone? We're all human beings. Be nice to people. But you're absolutely right. It really, we paid their salaries. We supported those guys through thick and thin. Never forget who you are.
You know what, Lev?
Go on.
You say that, yeah? The opposite of this happened to me.
Oh, thanks, Shaheen, for telling me that.
No.
Makes me feel so much better.
I was walking in a club level, right?
Oh, it's this club level story again. He's only ever in club level.
No, hold on. And I was looking
twice he's mentioned it.
And I was looking for my seat. Yeah. Next thing I know, I see what is that? Lee Judges coming out with a pint. We didn't know each other back then.
It wasn't a pint. It was a half.
Hold on. No, it was actually a pint. We didn't know each other back then. But Lee, and I said, "Oh, hi man, how you doing? I watch you," because I used to watch him on Same Old Arsenal. And Lee we had a really nice conversation. I'll be surprised if you remember Lee. But we had a really nice conversation on the corridor. On that note, I'm gonna finish the show.
But listen, I love Lee so much. I've got the same hairstyle, so you can't beat that. None of you can beat that, right? But Eduardo, if you ever come to London, brother, we'll take you to the Emirates. Yeah,
I will,
If
I
you
will,
ever
I will
come
be
down,
going very soon.
we'll
Definitely
introduce
look
you.
up.
We'll introduce you to your idol. All right, and then you'll realise what he's really about. No, he's a lovely fella. We love him. But listen, it's been great having Eduardo on. Listen, I'm glad you sorted out the connection. It was fine. Anytime, you know, we'd love to have you back on. So if you're okay with us to contact you and ask you back on,
Absolutely.
everyone enjoys having you on here. Shaheen, anything else you want to add before we go?
Man, just if you're new, subscribe, hit the like button, please, and don't forget Friday 6 o'clock. If you're in London,
Be there. You'll follow Eduardo. Eduardo, what's your Twitter handle?
My name, Eduardo Hagn.
That's it. So it's Eduardo Hagn. Follow him on Twitter if you don't. He's got great articles and great information. And finally, Lee, hit that gavel, son.
I'm out here. I've got football. Come on, get me out. I'm going to be late. Come on.
That's it. So we're out of here. Thank you for joining us. Peace out.
Thank you. Peace out.